What's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? This your man Troy from the Capital Music Group, and you are now tuned in with your girl ADRI.V, the Go Getta, on the G Code.
Hey, what's up, my go-getters? It's me, ADRI.V, the go-getter, back again with another episode of the G Code, and it's Women's History Month, so why wouldn't I make sure that all the women that I am interviewing for the month of March are phenomenal chicks making history in their own right. And with me today, I have this beautiful young lady, and let me tell you about the power of social media. Never would have got a chance to meet her in person, probably never would have connected with her if there wasn't social media, but thank God for Instagram, and we were able to connect, get to see her doing great things. She's motivating, she's a person about her business, and I'm so happy to bring to the mic, to bring to the G Code, my girl, Miss Chey Parker. How you doing, lady?
Hi, I'm doing good. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. I mean, why not? You're definitely a go-getter girl, and you are getting it out here. So for those who do not know who Miss Chey Parker is, give us a glimpse of who you are.
Okay, so of course what most people know me for is I'm the editor-in-chief of Everything Girls Love, which is an extension of Yandy Smith's brand, lifestyle brand. So it's a blog and a magazine, and I run both of those entities. I'm also a media personality and producer in the DMV area, so I work on a lot of different television shows, radio shows, web-based shows for different companies and different production companies. And I'm also a business owner. I'm a small business owner. I own a company called Ritual, which is a fashion-based e-commerce site where people can come and not only buy exclusive pieces, but they can also learn about that designer's backstory or that line's backstory. And designers and fashion journalists, stylists, and editors can also kind of network on the platform as well. So I'm kind of like a Jamaican. I have a lot of different hats that I wear. But I would say that for the most part, most people know me through the EGL platform.
And you know what? I love it because as a woman, sometimes we have to wear those multiple hats. We have to get our Jamaican on. I know that for a fact. And that we have to really push the envelope even when it comes to our grind, because at the end of the day, it's all an extension of who you are, what you do, and what you're trying to make happen. So let's kind of just get into your educational background. Exactly. Did you go to school for journalism? What school did you go to? And let's really just talk about, the bedrock to the beginning.
Okay. So I went to Howard University. I graduated in 2013, and my major was broadcast journalism. So before I got there, I already knew that I basically wanted to be a host on 106 and Park. Because, honestly, who didn't? Who didn't want to be a host on 106 and Park? So that's what I went to school for. I minored in political science. And before I actually got to Howard, I interned at Clear Channel 103 Jams, which is a radio station in Hampton, Virginia. That's where I'm originally from. And I worked for the daily newspaper as a student correspondent. So I already kind of had a really solid idea of what I wanted to do as a career. And I knew that I wanted to be in the journalism field in some sort of capacity. So I went to Howard. And as soon as I got to Howard, Howard is really a place where if you're not doing anything, you're going to feel like a cornball. Like everybody is doing something. Everybody's in clubs. They have this internship. They have that internship. They're doing this organization. They're doing that event. So as soon as you get on campus, you really feel like, okay, I need to find my niche. I need to find where I fit in. So I started working for a magazine called 25 Magazine, which was a magazine that was on campus, and I started out as an editorial assistant and kind of worked my way up. I dabbled in radio. I started working for the student radio station, which is WHBC, as a personality. And I also kind of worked with different people on their projects, like upperclassmen who had, web shows that they wanted help on, and really was just in there trying to get my feet wet in anything that I could in the field. So as I kind of matriculated through Howard, of course, I had internships. I worked at the BBC. I worked at C-SPAN. I also worked at a lot of different companies and their PR departments. So I was literally just trying to learn any and everything that I could to just make me a very well-rounded communications professional. I always knew that I wanted to be in front of the camera and behind the camera, but I knew that I kind of had a love for all of these different facets of communications, or of journalism, I should say, and I wanted to try all those out while I had the opportunities available to me. So I guess that's really where my passion started, watching 106 in Park and wanting to do what AJ and Free did on television. And then I kind of let everything else lead me down the path that I took. My junior year in college, I had a friend who had similar passions as I did, and she actually met one of Yandy's business partners in a store that she was working in New York at the time. I believe it was the Marc Jacobs store. And, they were talking back and forth, and her business partner was telling my friend, hey, Yandy wants to start this blog and this magazine. I know you go to Howard. We all went to Howard. We want to know if there's, anyone that who has a passion for this, who can help us get it off the ground, and who's going to be committed. And, luckily, she immediately thought of me and brought me to the table, and everything kind of started from there.
And you know what I love most is one thing that you said, you got on campus and everybody was moving and shaking it. You're just like, you know what, I'm not about to stay stagnant. And it's really great to be able to go to a place that generates that kind of environment and gives you that kind of motivation. Because just imagine if you went somewhere else where you didn't see that, exactly where would you be now? Already
exactly.
Coming in with that spunk and that motivation, but then you are even fed more of it. So that's really great. I never went to Howard, but I have gone every homecoming when I was in college. So
of course, we have the best. Well, we used to have the best homecoming. I don't know what they're doing now, but
girl, I had some of the best. Yes, I had some of the best times. Love the step shows, but nonetheless, and so that story for me is so great for my college students, because some of them don't understand that time in their life, your college life, is the greatest bedrock ever for you to really create that foundation to catapult you to that next level. Because one, you've made connections, just like the lady said, we all went to Howard, you went to Howard. Connecting with your alumni is so key, and I think people don't really understand that. They really don't understand the power of it.
Yeah, for sure. I will say that making the decision to go to Howard was single-handedly the best career decision I've ever made, in my life. And right, I'm 24 now, so I feel old, but I'm
girl,
in comparison to the other folks that are in my industry and have been doing this a bit longer than I have. And college, people are much more willing to help you when you are in school and when they see you trying and trying to move and shake and learn everything than they are when you're not in school or when you graduate. Like, people are kind of like, you're grown. Like, we're not, we're not just gonna go to lunch with you to network. Like, we're just not gonna drop all these gems on you. So those of you who are listening who are in school, make sure that you take advantage of every opportunity that becomes available to you, because it will really determine the path that you go on when you graduate. And it's really important to take advantage of all of that stuff now, because trust me, when you get out into this real world, it's nothing like it was in college. Nothing like it, okay?
Nothing like it. And as we even jump into the real world, I talk about the good, the pretty, and the ugly. And so, the good is, one, you're a business owner. You've decided to even expand your brand. You've been able to connect up with Yandy and her platform. And how has that been?
Well, it's been amazing. Like, I'm always, no matter what happens at the end of the day, I'm always going to be, EGL's biggest fan. EGL has opened doors for me that I would have never been able to open myself or with, I think, any other company or any other publication. EGL is really the reason why I'm in the place that I'm in now, that I have the access that I have now, which I'll talk a little bit more about later. But it's been my foundation and my backbone for everything that I'm doing right now and everything that I want to do in the future. And aside from that, they've really given me the opportunity to grow and to make a lot of my ideas and a lot of my passions come to life, because it's relatively a small company. It's a new company, and so, you know, we're still testing the waters. We're still testing things out. You know, we're not like Essence. We haven't been around for, you know, decades.
Right.
But, you know, we're able to, you know, compete with publications that are on that level and be recognized by those publications. And, you know, I really pride myself on knowing that I have been there from the beginning to see this grow and to help build it, and to really not only kind of give to EGL, but also have EGL give back to me with, you know, everything that I've been able to accomplish and do since I've been in that position. Yeah, like, that's really the birth of it. I really have to give all of my credit to EGL and Andy and to her business partner for really giving me the opportunity and trusting such a, you know, a young person who didn't really have experience. You know, had experience, but,
right,
you know, campus experience. And they really put the ball in my court and was like, listen, you know, you've been with us. I started out as a writer, and then very quickly I moved to managing editor. And then after being managing editor for, I would say, about 8 months to a year, I was promoted to editor-in-chief. And they really kind of just put all their trust in me and the ball in my court, and I could not thank them enough for that.
And, you know, I love the fact you said that, because there's so many people, and I've learned this within my own pursuit of the dream, of the goal, who will not give you experience if you don't have experience. And it's just like, you know, you're fresh out of college, or it's just like, you know, how do I ever gain experience if you don't give me an opportunity? And people who decide to bet on you as they have betted on themselves, I have the utmost respect for them, because there are so many people and who are in position to give opportunity but won't even let you give a go. Like, give me a 6-month trial period, you know what I mean, to see if I can live up to what is it you're looking for. But that is a beautiful thing, and that is a true opportunity, because that does not come around often.
Right. And everyone always asks me, you know, how did you, you know, get in this position? How did it happen? And when I say it was literally fate, and it kind of fell in my lap, and I'm not one of those people who think things fall in your lap, but it was really a matter of me, you know, having that mindset as soon as I got to campus. You know, that friend of mine knowing my name and kind of seeing me, you know, because we weren't super close friends. We kind of just knew each other because we were in the same major.
Right.
You know, we were, you know, at the radio station, or, you know, at this magazine office or the newspaper office, and we kind of only knew each other in passing. And the fact that she thought enough of me to, you know, immediately think of me when that opportunity came to the table really says a lot about, you know, making sure that you have good rapport with people. You don't have to be anyone's best friend by any means. That'll probably get you more in trouble than anything.
Right.
But, you know, just having a positive attitude and making sure that your reputation is in good standing, and that people know what you do, they know what you're trying to do, and that they have a good impression of you. Like, it is important what people think when it comes to that, because that opportunity would have never came around if I was, you know, sitting in my room studying all day for this A that's going to give me this degree, that's going to get me this, you know, kind of corporate mediocre job that I'm probably not going to like in 3 years.
Right.
So, you know, it's important to get out there and to network. And again, you don't have to be anybody's best friend, but you do want to make sure that you build genuine relationships with people, even if it's very surface level, because you never know who's going to be your next opportunity.
That is absolutely true. And like you said, you know, she was watching you. And although there wasn't a true relationship, she respected the grind and seen that you were out here getting it. So that's what it's about. In addition, you know, we get a chance to talk about the pretty. Now there's always that ugly. It's always that time period where it's just like, man, how am I going to make this? You know, how am I going to do this? Is this really going to happen for me? And what was a period of time, or, you know, circumstances, situations where you thought this is not going how I planned? Especially, I know sometimes when we graduate, and I know I've been there, where things you think are going to happen that it don't, and just like, oh, woe is me. And you have this time period in your life where it's just like, yo, I'm so happy that it's done. I'm so happy that it's over. There's been a time where you can say, yo, this is the ugly of the life?
Oh my gosh, yeah, definitely. When I graduated from college, again, like I said, EGL is a relatively new company. I think we've really only been online for maybe like 3.5 years now, which is not a very long time at all. But I graduated, and before I graduated, my junior year, during spring break, I went up to New York and I filmed like a pilot for a reality show. It was going to be an EGL reality show. And, unbeknownst to me, I didn't know, that the process to actually get a reality show, even after you shoot a pilot, is like 3-4 years long. Like Love and Hip Hop, for instance, they probably shot that pilot about 4 years before it ever actually made it on television, or they ever actually started filming, real episodes for it. So when I graduated college, I just knew I was going to be moving to New York. I was going to be working full-time in the EGL office. I was going to be on this show, and I was just going to be lit, okay? Lit. Things didn't work out that way, to say the least. The reality show, even now, to this day, we're kind of like, we're still working on that. Try not to give away too many secrets.
Right.
So we're still working on that. And, EGL, again, like, it's a small company. Like, at that time, they couldn't afford to, pay anyone, $60,000 to live in New York and to work full time. Like, that just wasn't happening. And so reality really set in, and I'm like, oh, crap, like, I need to figure something out. I didn't want to go back to Hampton, Virginia, and I just got really panicky and kind of overwhelmed and honestly stressed out. And of course, all college graduates probably go through it, but I'm already a very like dramatic person. So that was like, I was in panic mode, but like times 10 of a normal person. So I was really freaking out, and I started working at the television station on Howard's campus, which it's privately owned. So I was working there before I graduated, so I kind of continued to work there. But that was only an hourly position, and I'm like, I have a degree, I need to bust moves. Like, I can't just stay here. So I applied to work as a public relations specialist at the Humane Society of the United States, which I'm actually still there now.
Oh, nice.
They were kind of like my jump into the real world. Mind you, my major was in broadcast journalism. Like, I was not a public relations major on any account. I didn't really know anything about public relations.
Oh, wow.
Don't ask me how I got the job. I don't know.
But it had to be because you're a great writer. You know what I mean? When you're a great writer, that does it all.
Very true. And also the finesse that Howard taught me during my tenure probably really helped in that interview process. But, I had to go and get a real job and still, work on my passions, because I'm like, hey, I don't come from a family who, has a ton of money for me to just sit at home and chase my dreams. Like, we barely have money to go to the doctor. I need health care. I need a roof over my head. I need a car. So I kind of had to divert from, the path that I thought I was going to take at that time. And it was very frustrating. It was very disappointing because, you have all these high hopes and these dreams for what you're going to do when you graduate. And honestly, this is sad, but 9 times out of 10, things just don't work out like that. Mm-hmm. So that was really kind of like a low point, I would say, as far as my morale for my career. I was just kind of like, like, I did all this stuff in college and it's not even paying off. Like, I got to go work and do something else.
Right.
So that was really disappointing. And even now, right now, I'm doing a lot of things, and when people see me, they're like, oh, she has it all together. Like, you're doing all this great stuff. You're busting moves, da-da-da. But what I don't think people understand is that when you're kind of in the space that I am right now, that I have a recognizable brand. People know me, and they know what I do. I do stuff, but on no account am I like on Oprah level or
don't we all want to be there
level or
right,
or whatever. It's like people have their eyes on you now, and they're really watching you now, and you're only as good as what you last did.
Yes.
And I think people get caught in, oh, well, I did this great thing 3 years ago.
It's over.
Nobody cares about that.
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares about that. You're just as good as your last interview, your last song, if you're a promoter, your last party, or, whatever you are. If you keep that mindset, you're always going to strive for more and you're going to grind for more. But at the same time, it's scary because you're almost always trying to outdo yourself.
Yes.
Because you want to succeed, and like at this point, it's not just you that's at stake. You have people looking up to you now. You have a staff that depends on you, and you have people looking at you. So it's so much more pressure than the pressure that you put on yourself. And if you're already a person that puts a lot of pressure on yourself, that can get very draining. And a lot of times I have to catch myself even now and say, okay, Chey, you're not exactly where you want to be right now, but you're 24.
Right. You have some time.
You've done amazing things thus far, and it's only going to get better from here. And I kind of got to watch myself as how much pressure I put on myself and how much I kind of feed into that, oh, I'm not where I'm at right now. Because it's a journey, and you want to enjoy the journey. Because when you get to the top and you never enjoyed the journey, how good is the top really going to be?
It doesn't feel that great, And as our infamous uncle always say, Diddy, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint.
Right, exactly.
It's definitely a marathon. So, in the midst of your marathon, and, we get a chance to talk about the good, the ugly, and it's clear and evident that you are grinding. And when it comes to the G code, what are some codes that you can share with others that you already shared a few throughout this entire interview, but, that are your top G codes when it comes to your grinding and going after your dreams and being a go-getter about it?
I would say my first tip is you cannot, and excuse my language, but you cannot half-ass this.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way. You can't half-ass your way to the top. You gotta put the work in. You gotta be willing to put the work in. And the only way that you will put the work in is if you're passionate about it. So before you jump into something, or before you say, or you put, I'm a model in my bio, or I'm a radio personality in my bio, or whatever the case is, make sure that you're passionate about it and that you're not just doing it to, be seen. When I first got on board with EBL as managing editor, my goal was to never speak on panels or, be out or be seen or have all these, social media followers. My goal was really, this is another opportunity that's going to get me to the next step.
Right.
To whatever I want to do.
Absolutely.
I never knew it was going to grow into what it is now, and I never knew I was going to grow into this woman that I am now. And I don't even know who I may be 2 years down the line. So make sure you're doing it for the right reasons, because it's what you want to do. A lot of people say, oh, I'm this, I'm that, I want to do this, I want to do that, but it's not even really what they want to do. Like, they're just doing it for the frills and the thrills and for what it looks like on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
But are you willing to be that radio personality or that TV personality that has to pay their own way to New York for a gig? Are you willing to work for nothing for 2 years? Like, are you willing to be changing, in the back of a bag, in the back of a Five Guys or in the back of an Uber for an event? Are you willing to do that?
Say it.
And 9 times out of 10, people are not willing to do that.
No, they're not.
So that would be my main thing, was don't half-ass, and be willing to put the work in and to do the not so pretty stuff so that you can do the pretty stuff later. So that's the first thing. The second thing is be selective about the opportunities that you take. I know before I said in college, you want to take advantage of the opportunities that become available to you, and that's true. But when you get to a certain point, and you can probably attest to this too, and when you get to a certain level, some opportunities are simply not worth your time.
Not at all.
Some opportunities are more beneficial to whoever you're working with than they are to you. So make sure that whatever you're doing, you should be able to loop it back to what your larger goal is. If you can't find any type of loophole to how this will benefit you in the grand scheme of things, you don't need to do it. A lot of people will get complacent or get satisfied and just be busy. But being busy doesn't mean that you're really busting moves
or being productive.
Like, you're just busy doing whatever.
Right.
So be selective about those opportunities because every opportunity isn't gold. Every opportunity isn't going to catapult you further. So just be mindful of that. Not saying, you're not Oprah, you're not Beyonce, so you don't necessarily need to be turning down stuff or, being rude about it or mean about it, but be conscious of what you're doing and how you're managing your time, because it only gets harder from here. When you graduate college or when you get married and have kids, like, you're going to have less and less time on your hands.
That is the truth. Speaking so truthfully here. I appreciate those G codes. You got some more? I feel like you're on a roll.
Of course. And the last thing that I really want to throw out there is that don't let what other people are doing, especially on social media, discourage you or fool you. Now, you shouldn't even be paying that much to what anybody else is doing on social media for it to fool you, because people only show you what they really want you to see.
Right.
But don't let it discourage you. I know so many people who are like, oh my gosh, like, you're doing so much and, I'm not really doing anything. And I'm like, you only know what you see on social media. Not to say I'm a fraud, because I'm not fraudulent. I'm actually the same person on Instagram that I am in real life. But a lot of people are fraudulent. Like, I don't even really know another word for it. So don't be so hard on yourself because you're watching a fraudulent person on Instagram.
Right.
You have to take those things with a grain of salt and focus on what you're doing. So if you find yourself looking at somebody's Instagram and you're getting discouraged, you're spending too much time up there, you need to go ahead and put that phone down and get to work on your goals. Like, that's the motivation to put your cell phone down and open up your laptop and get something cracking. Because scrolling all day on Instagram, being discouraged, or, saying that so-and-so has this and they got that and you don't have this, that's not going to get you anywhere. So have your little 30 minutes of Instagram time, and once that time is over, get off and get to work.
Absolutely. I love that. I just came up with the less posting and more positioning. So I think that is right on cue and right on point to exactly
I love that.
What the heck I was thinking before, because that is true. Like you said, you only see what the person is allowing you to see, and you really have no clue what that person is dealing with, going through, or even really making happen. And some people are definitely fraudulent. So I so appreciate your G codes. So again, Chey, I appreciate you coming into the G code, sharing all that you have shared, your pretty, your ugly, and of course your grind to success and your G code tips. But let us know how my folks can follow you, get connected with you, give them the website, the EGL, and all that jazz.
Okay, so you can always check out EGL every day. We have the best stories on the net. You can go to www.everythinggl.com. And for me, you can follow me on Snapchat, Instagram, and Twitter at I am Chey Parker. I'm a lot more, I guess you would say, personal and a little, I don't know how everybody thinks like I'm so innocent. Like, I'm not that innocent. Like,
it's the face.
I'm
it's
grown.
the face.
Like, I do the stuff y'all do, So you can see a little bit more of that on Snapchat. I kind of saved that for that crowd. And stay tuned for the stuff that we have coming up next. It's going to be exciting.
Absolutely. Well, my go-getters, you just definitely got a dose and a wonderful taste of my girl, Miss Chey Parker. She is moving and shaking and making things happen and turning dreams into reality. And she is definitely someone you need to be connected to and follow. And again, big ups to social media. What a great tool to use if you use it properly. And this is a great connection to be able to do so. So make sure you stay connected with us at the G Code. Follow us, subscribe to us on iTunes, YouTube, SoundCloud. And you can always find it at www.ADRI.VTheGoGetter.com, and me at all things ADRI.V The Go Getter. And always, I appreciate you for getting inside the G Code. Love you so much for listening. And again, welcome to the G Code.